all agree that this would be the wrong time to decide to take a self-defense course, because every 9 seconds in the United States, a woman is assaulted or beaten, and very often in everyday situations like this one. But wouldn't it be great if you had an opportunity to learn how to protect yourself from this kind of attack? Or any other form for that matter? Well, with Wicked Training, you can. It's women's interactive critical knowledge educational defense training, and it is designed specifically for women. It focuses on avoidance and reaction and provides each student with the ability to use minimum muscle-to-muscle contact with an attacker and escape unharmed. So basically, no matter your size or strength, you can feel comfortable and confident with your ability to protect yourself. And fortunately for Cecilia, she was a part of our program and she was very prepared. Let's watch. Seen how Wicked Training can pay off for you in a dangerous situation, maybe it's time to talk to the creator of the program. His name's Sean Belcher. He's a 2nd degree black belt and the founder of this program. So let's see.
Hi, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
I was going to say you guys have been doing a really great job on all this, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you've helped us and a lot of other women around this parts too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was the initial intent of that.
So how did you get started with the program?
Well, basically what happened was my running partner and I were working out one day, and I was learning a lot of new, different types of self-defense training. And I was practicing with her, and a young lady came by and she said, well, you really don't need to mess with all that because we won't use the expletive she used, but you just kick the guy and he falls down and everything's fine. And I went, oh, this is horrible. You really need to know more than this. So I showed her a couple of things, and the next thing I know, I've got 6 or 7 students. And one of them asked me one day, could you write this down for me?
Sure.
I'm having trouble remembering all
Something
that.
to follow.
Exactly. So I just drew up a little outline and then realized, hey, this is actually the curriculum for a program.
Right.
And if I organize it better and focus on different aspects of not just Shaolin, but Krav Maga and Taekwondo and different just basic FBI type of takedowns, but took out the muscle versus muscle effect. Because if you and I interact, if I come after you, I'm going to outmuscle you every time.
Yeah, Bob here.
If you know exactly where to strike though, with the right speed and the right locations, you can defend yourself well enough to get away. Now this course won't make you a black belt or anything like that. Only thing we're after is the very basics of what's going on, the essentials of defending yourself.
Right.
I highly encourage people to continue on with that, but this is just a simple little 4-hour program. We go over the most basic types of things that you would need to know.
Everyday situations.
Everyday situations, exactly. And that's the course in a nutshell.
Perfect. So you taught Cece and I exactly what you might need to do in a situation like that. You think we should get her opinion?
Exactly. Let's get Cece in here and see what.
Hey guys.
Cece, hey. Thank you so much for being here one more time. I know we put a lot of effort into it, but you guys have done a wonderful job.
Yeah, it's been awesome working with you guys. So since we've seen some of the things that might happen in like the worst case scenario, how about we do some of the simpler things,
Yeah,
like
that's a good
walking
idea.
through a bar or something?
We'll show them just a basic wrist grab. So let's have, since you've been doing so wonderfully being attacked, we'll have you be the person that's standing. You're just hanging out with the friends, talking. And Debbie, who is a wonderful person, has had maybe one shot too many or whatever. And she's decided that she thinks you're cute and she wants you to come and talk to her.
Hey baby.
So she comes up and casually just takes your arm. Now, right here, we would agree, you don't need to break her nose, break her finger, break her knee, right?
Right.
We can agree on that. All we need to do is get her away from us and step back as casually as possible. There's no reason to make a scene. There's nothing happened here so far that's extremely violent. We know nothing about Teddy. So you can see, Cece's already got her hand in the spear hand shape. So what she's going to do is bring her fingers down as she rotates. Now the reason that she's doing this is because your hand is facing back against her, and if she pulls away, it's just going to cinch down. There's no way she's going to be able to pull out from this.
Right.
But by making it into a spear hand, rotating up, she's gonna let her hand come right into the groove. And now she's got your thumb and finger. You can pull this apart, so she's gonna push down with the wrist and step back into her defensive stance.
Easy.
And she's gonna casually say, hey, you know, hey, nice to see you, type deal. So one more time, really, really slowly. She takes it, she rolls out, pushes back, goes into her stance. So, a little bit more forcefully this time, let's step it up.
Okay.
So we're putting a little more.
Hey, baby.
And now at almost full speed, but never full speed in the gym because we don't want to hurt each other. And that's the way that works.
Perfect.
Good job, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for this.
So, Cece, you had fun in the dramatization, right?
Absolutely.
Getting to pretend to kick somebody's butt and
Yeah.
but
And
you
actually
really
be able to do it in real life.
exactly, yeah. And I'm sure it was fun for everybody to get to see that too. But I think it's time we should talk about the more technical stuff and like the actual details of what this means and how you can protect yourself and what a doctor might say if they saw somebody who got their butt handed to them by someone like you.
For instance, like when Dr. Lukens gets interviewed.
And that's right.
In the dramatization, it was clear that I had been trained. We are fortunate enough to have Dr. Jay Lukens here with us today to show exactly what training was used. Dr. Lukens is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon since 1973. He graduated from Duke University and the medical school at the University of Kentucky. Dr. Lukens served his residency at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. He is going to demonstrate exactly what damage has been done to the attacker and how that would affect any potential dangerous attacker.
Hi, with us today is Dr. Jay Lukens. Jay's an orthopedic surgeon, and he's been kind enough to work with us today on explaining to us exactly what happened when CC was assaulted. Of course, as everyone knows, this is a dramatization, and things are going to go perfectly in this dramatization. Real life, nothing ever goes perfectly, but we're hoping. So Dr. Lukens, thank you for being here. And I know you've had a chance to see this several times, but for the sake of the people watching, if you don't mind, we'll go through in slow motion. We'll break it down step by step. So we have Cecilia starting off. Creepy guy's coming up behind her. He's grabbed her around the waist and covered her mouth. At this point, she slams her head backwards, grabs the finger, stomps the top of the foot. So what are we actually seeing physiologically? What's happening to this man at this point?
Well, all right. First of all, the assailant, the person that's grabbing her, would be leaning over, and if she flipped her head back, the primary thing that she would hit is the front of his face, because he's leaning over. I made some drawings that would show that, and I also talked to an ENT friend and an ophthalmologist friend who helped me with the injuries that would be sustained. And the primary thing with throwing your head back would be if you hit them in the front of the face, you would hit their nose. And besides causing significant pain, you could very well break their nose. That's going to be the most prominent bone sticking out there.
Right.
And as soon as that happens, the feeling of nausea and syncope occurs. It's called a vasovagal reaction. When she grabs the finger, if she's got control of the assailant's finger, if she's got the index finger, she can take it sideways or backwards, and it would cause a significant pain and injury to the finger. The drawings indicate that's a metacarpal, that's the first phalanx of the finger, and it's much more likely that there'll be soft tissue injuries rather than bony injuries. But the soft tissue injuries are significant both in pain and the ultimate result. So if you've got an index finger, you can take it sideways. If you've got middle fingers, then it's harder to take it sideways. But if you take it backwards, this is the joint that would be dislocated or the ligaments torn. So, and that's significantly painful.
Absolutely.
Now, the stomp on the top of the foot, if right in front of the ankle is the height of the arch of the foot, and to come down hard and fast on the top of the foot causes injuries to the ligaments in this part of the foot, which is painful, and to the point where that person, I'm starting to say patient, but that assailant could not continue to walk on that foot. I mean, it's significantly painful because there's ligaments between all these joints, and so depending on how arched their foot is, there would be significant pain and disability from that stomp.
Absolutely. So this, right there alone would probably, once she gets out of his grasp, that could very probably stop him from being able to pursue her, at least quickly pursuing her.
Yes.
Okay. So as we go forward, she stomped the foot. This is what you were talking about, bringing the middle finger back and up, extending backwards. At this point, she's doing a double strike, one to the center of the rib cage and one directly under the armpit. So I know nothing's breaking here because of the size differential and the amount of force that she can actually deliver, but what are we seeing?
Well, if she had hardened fast enough, she could break her rib. But if we're talking about the nerve injury, this was the depiction of where the brachial plexus, which has all the nerves that go to your arm and hand. And the important thing in this anatomically is to hit in the armpit, preferably in the front of the armpit, your pectoralis. That's where the brachial plexus is because it's protected by these muscles in front. But if you hit there, not only could you break a rib, but you could also hit the brachial plexus. If it's up in front of the armpit, it's not going to injure the nerve.
Okay. So we're definitely doing some weakening. It's going to loosen his arm up as she's starting to come down with that. And we see that she's already got the finger. She's going to maybe break, maybe hyperextend.
Right. It's much more likely that you do ligament damage at the joint between the metacarpal and the phalanx than to break it. But either way, it hurts bad enough that it will stop them.
Okay, so as she continues through, she's breaking, as we've seen. She's supporting underneath the arm to give herself added leverage. And here, to me, seems like one of the best moves as far as being able to prevent somebody from coming after you. She's going into the knee. Now, of course, being a dramatization, she's going behind the knee. But in real life, in an actual situation, she would either be going directly from the side or directly from the front.
Right, and that's going to do the most damage. In the drawing of the knee, if you hit from behind, the knee's going to fold like it ordinarily does. You can flex the knee and it's not going to do much damage. Theoretically, you could rupture the anterior cruciate ligament, but this diagram shows this would be a right knee, the lateral collateral ligament, the medial collateral ligament, and the two cruciate ligaments on the inside. So to do the most damage, to hit from the front or either side is likely to tear one of those ligaments, if not dislocate the knee, which is a terrible injury. And you don't keep going after that kind of injury.
So you're saying this one would even be a life-changing disability?
Could be, yes.
Permanent type of...
Right. It would require, if a cruciate ligament is injured, then you're going to have surgery to repair it. Medial collateral or lateral collateral, you're talking about 6 to 8 weeks of recovery. But that's not as important as what the acute thing does, and that is that it would stop you from being able to chase the person or
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, as we continue through, we're seeing here she's stomping the same foot once again, and the very end of this, she's striking preferably in the temple or right in the side of the orbital socket. So what are we looking at as far as these two final strikes?
Well, as I mentioned to you before, I talked to the ophthalmologist about this particular portion of the self-defense, and it was stated that it's unlikely, because the bones of the face are so hard, that you would break a bone. But if you hit the eye within the orbit, the bony orbit, that's where the significant damage would be. Either to the globe of the eye, where you could rupture the globe, you could get a retinal detachment, or you could, if it's off a little bit, you can get a scleral tear. Whatever it is, you're not going to be able to see well out of that eye. But besides that, there's a vasovagal response. It just makes you feel sick and syncopal, which means feels like you're going to faint. So it would stop the person.
Excellent.
But that, I'm not too sure what the temple blow would do, other than hurt. But within the orbit, within the bony socket of the eye, it would be a significant problem for the person to keep going.
I see. Dr. Lukens, this has been very informative. I'd like to thank you very much for your time. And thank you, sir.
You're quite welcome.
So I think it might be a good idea if we try to talk to some of Sean's former students. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, see what they have to say about like their personal experience with Wicked and everything.
For sure, I think we can come up with some questions.
Right on. So ladies, how did you hear about Wicked training? Have you known Sean for a long time?
I've known Sean for about 8 or 10 years.
Wow, yeah.
And he and I actually took Tai Chi together. So we started off in martial arts taking Tai Chi. He continued on and I stopped.
Cool, yeah.
He took advantage and went on and started actually teaching.
Learning all the fun moves
Learning all the
and
fun moves.
everything.
And then started teaching some self-defense and turned it into the Wicked training.
Sure, sure.
I heard through our running group, through tagging our running group.
Okay, cool. And what do you guys do with that? Do you work out together and everything?
We get
Go to
together.
5Ks and
We
stuff?
get together about once a week and run, if not more often.
It's a pretty regular thing then.
Pretty
That's
regularly.
awesome.
There's about 8 or 10 of us. And so when I started taking the self-defense class with Sean, I quickly realized this was something all of my running group needed to be involved in.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's all women, they out on their own and
Exactly.
definitely need to be able to defend themselves.
For sure, of course.
So after taking the class, do you feel a little more confident in being able to maybe protect yourself?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Much.
Yes.
I'm single and I live home alone and I feel much more comfortable.
Oh, yes, because that's definitely a necessity. When you're on your own, it's so important to be able to know that you're going to be safe for whatever reason. So have either of you had any instances where you felt like you would be utilizing your training?
I absolutely did, yes. The reason I went to Sean, or came to Sean to ask him to teach me self-defense was I was in a competition that ran all night, and I was out running in the middle of nowhere, basically,
Wow.
at about 2 o'clock in the morning,
Very
and
scary.
yeah, it was pretty scary. Yeah, I've been in these kind of situations before, but there was a car and an open field, and it just didn't feel right.
Oh,
Made me
yes.
very uncomfortable.
Your instincts for sure. just tell you when
Absolutely,
you're in
absolutely.
danger.
And so when I finished that run or that event, I immediately came to Sean. I said, I don't ever want to feel that vulnerable again.
Very, very powerful stuff.
Yes.
And I'm sure both of you probably know several people that would benefit, like have been through something like that before, or, have the possibility of that happening. Who would
Absolutely.
benefit from this.
So do you guys know anyone that would benefit from this outside of your running group?
I think every person that has a daughter that is in the driving age, whether they'll be out in the dark or be alone or
Right.
going off to college, I think they need to take the class.
Yeah, definitely.
That gives both of you a sense of confidence and their ability to protect themselves.
Right, it's important to know that the people that you love, not just yourself, but the people that you love and care about are gonna be able to be safe even when you're not there with them, right? Like you said, anyone with a daughter, for sure. So apart from, just being able to, kick someone's ass if you really need to, how else do you think that learning this stuff can help a person or young lady?
I think just give them a little more self-esteem, a little self-confidence, and carry themselves a little differently.
Yeah.
Walking their head up.
Sure, absolutely. And being small, it makes you carry yourself a little taller.
Right.
Maybe on the inside,
Yeah.
other people might not see it,
So how tall are you?
but it makes you feel a little better about, a little more confident about being around people.
Yeah, I could say after I took the first class with Sean, I was going home and beating up my boyfriend and my aunt is Joanna, who's his sister, and I went to her and I said, I thought it was going to be a little weird at first, having Sean trying to attack me, but it actually was a really cool experience. He's really, really fun to work with.
Definitely empowering.
Yeah.
He makes it fun, he's also very professional, and he's very thoughtful. I mean, he
Absolutely.
tries to think about different angles and how to teach. I know with me, I learn differently than the next person, and he's just very aware of that, and he kind of caters to
Sure.
where you need.
So what about you, Felicia? What was your favorite part of the class?
Flipping Sean. But I did learn from the get-go, from the first thing that he told us, everything that I thought that I was supposed to do was totally wrong.
Really?
So it was very informative from the start.
Yeah, absolutely, because you see stuff in movies and how you think it's going to go, but in reality, it's probably never actually like that, So it's good to learn what you would do in a real situation, for sure.
He does a good job of teaching you how to stay out of situations, so that you don't have to use any special
Avoidance and
techniques, just
everything.
avoiding the situation
For
altogether.
sure, yeah. Well,
I think that's all.
I think that's pretty much it. You guys have anything else you'd like to say? What would you want to leave the viewer with for?
If you're thinking about it, do it.
Yeah.
If you even think about it, then you need to do it.
If you've ever questioned, should I have a big man with me to protect me? Do I need somebody's help right now? You don't. You got it inside, right?
There you go.
Awesome. There we go. That's wicked. Now that you understand more about the benefits of wicked training, ask yourself these questions. Could something like this ever happen to me? Do I need to wait any longer than I already have to learn how to protect myself? If you know the answer, then clearly Wicked Training is the program for you. With the help of everyone at the Private Performance Fitness team, you and every woman that you know can finally feel safe to walk alone. Whether it's in a city street at night, a crowded bar, or a creepy parking garage, you are in control. And that is totally wicked.